I was dying, dude. I was burning up. My arms on fire.
What's up, everybody? I'm Big Skoom.
Tell it, John the Don.
We are
Skoom Speech.
This is Skoom Speech, baby. Let them know, T.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. Come back and hanging out some more.
I got some queued up topics, questions for today. Are you ready, sir?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're going to start potentially with the one I find most interesting. So,
All right, but let's find out what Zay thinks is interesting.
yeah, we'll digress to some silly stuff. I heard 2 takes on psychopathy, on psychopaths.
Okay.
2 takes.
I've never even heard that word. Psychopathy?
Yeah.
All right, I bet. 2 takes.
2 takes.
Let's see what they are.
One is its evolution attempting to create the perfect human.
Wow.
I know, it's interesting, right?
That is interesting.
First, what do you even think about that?
I don't know. It's gonna take me a minute to grasp this as a first topic to jump into.
Listen,
anyway.
Tyler, don't tell me what you know, tell me what you think.
Yeah, right. Well, shoot. At first, I think what?
Yeah, it's a bold statement, right?
Yeah. So.
One is its evolution attempting to create the perfect human. A perfect human, evolution through time could be trying to maybe figure out, hey, it's someone who has no emotion or whatever. We'll jump into it more.
Okay.
The second one's just as good, right? How can you get better than that?
Yeah, right. Well, hold up. All right. Let's carry on. Give me the second one, and we'll break both these down and unpack it together.
The second one is that's our natural, archaic selves, and we've evolved in a sense to lose it. So we were all psychopaths back in the day, archaic times,
sure.
cavemen. We were all psychopaths.
Freaking just ravage animals.
Yep.
Crazy.
And then through evolution, time, social constructs, social constructs, culture, we separated and we've lost that. Both are pretty plausible, right? Both are pretty plausible.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't disagree. I mean, well, I'll definitely agree. Because of evolution, of course, you have to learn to adapt into, if you live in a city, if you live in the country, and what people interact and act like out in those elements, obviously drastically different.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see how that's definitely plausible. And, yeah, I mean, of course, back in cavemen, what would they do? Like, speaking freaking gibberish, see an animal, grumble tummy, understand that, and then the idea of survival is just kill that thing and figure out eat it raw, or eventually they discovered fire, right? And then learn to cook, and now we season things.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's super crazy, but I can definitely say plausible.
Yeah. In a sec, we're gonna get to eating meat because you just brought that up, but yeah. So I know, for example, Nietzsche proposed the second one about how we were all psychopaths, and then we've developed not to be.
Evolved into being more socially acceptable to what your social norms might be.
Exactly.
Sure.
So I guess that's probably the one I believe in more.
Yeah.
But the first one, I don't know, I think it's more fun. It's like funner. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Agree.
But you just made me think of something that maybe we'll talk about for a sec, and I'll get your take on this. I don't know if I've asked you, but like, for example, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat meat. And, you brought up eating meat. So I want to ask you some questions. You eat meat.
I love meat, dude.
You love meat. This guy loves meat, right? I'm sure you all do. So let's say maybe we'll use the post-apocalyptic, hypothesis, right? There's no more animals to be eaten for some reason.
Yeah.
Right? All the animals, whatever. They all caught a crazy flu, or I don't know what's going on. But all the meat's gone.
They had like the cow chaos or whatever it was too.
Mad cow disease.
Mad cow disease. Yeah.
There's no more animals to eat. What are you gonna do, T? Are you gonna start eating people?
No way, dude. No way. Definitely digress. Go back. Just eat a lot of rice and vegetables and stuff like that. Not that I don't eat vegetables now. I love salads, and I'm saying, like, rice, a lot of carbs and starches, as I mentioned before. Like, so I could definitely live off mashed potatoes and.
See, I don't believe when meat eaters say that, right? I feel like.
At one point you used to be a meat eater.
Of course.
And now you're not. So, of course.
One reason
I only say of course because of course that anyone could adapt into that.
Well, one reason why I stopped eating meat was also, believe it or not, because of this point. I would look at meat, raw meat specifically, and I would say, this can't be that much from a human. At some places, I like to joke with people.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, they're like we're talking about chicken, and I was like, don't you think you taste better than this chicken? Like you wouldn't eat people? They're like, yeah, of course I do.
Well, no, I would say no, because first of all, it depends on their diet. We know chickens are grass-fed. Humans are not that. So whatever BS you're putting into your body, you're going to taste like. If it's high salt content, high sodium, you're going to be chewy, you're going to be fat, you're going to be salty as heck. I've had this debate with people before, and I don't understand how you could come to the conclusion of a human tasting good. Well, only because of what we know humans' main diets usually are.
Well,
a vegetarian would taste better than a meat-eating food.
I want to hear your honest opinion.
Yeah.
Let's use something that's maybe more gross than a chicken, right? Pork. Or cow. Do you think you taste better than a pig?
Terrible.
You should. First of all, you should.
You would hope so, but I would honestly hate to say that there's probably not too much difference.
Try to give a yes or no. Do you think you taste better than a pig?
Me personally?
Yes.
Do I think I would taste better than? Yes.
Do you think you do?
I would taste better than a pig.
Yeah. So.
But I can name some humans that would probably not taste better than a pig.
I don't know.
But that's because of their diet and exercise and regimens, things like that.
I don't believe that. That's crap. That's crap.
You don't think so?
I know we're kind of digressing here. I wasn't planning to talk about this, but I was watching a cartoon Futurama once, and this is when I was a vegetarian, and it was like a pig was like eating meat, and they were like walking around some tour or something. He's like, look, even our meat eat meat, and
that must have been Fry.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
and I just found it all disgusting. Like, they're like, I don't know, they're all eating crap.
Yeah.
So and no matter who you are and what you do, you should think you taste better than an animal. You should think that already. But so the point I usually like to make was kind of the point we started this with. I was like, if there was no more meat, would you start eating people? Some people say yes, and could really put themselves in that situation and say, yeah, I would.
Holy smokes.
It's usually about 50-50. I asked a bunch of people.
Yo, they would be okay with that as soon as tomorrow. Like, if you come to that conclusion that fast, yes, I'm okay with eating a human. But you would be okay with that as soon as tomorrow. If they had that conclusion, honestly, and they really feel about that, they would be okay with that as soon as tomorrow. Those people you need to avoid, dog.
No.
They eat you.
No. I feel like you're super smart, dude. Or you're super rational. You're like looking at this really logically and really rationally. But the food you eat, Tyler, isn't a logical thing. It's not a logical thing. You eat for survival. That's not a logic thing. You do you do it to survive.
Right.
There's no logic.
There is logic in it.
That's like saying
logically you can starve to death.
That's like, what else do you do to survive? You use the bathroom. You poop and pee.
Sure.
Is that a logical thing?
Drink water.
Are those logical things? No, you just poop and pee.
You just have to.
Yeah, there's no logic in it.
It's more of an urge.
Yeah, there's no logic in it.
Right? It's an urge then? So if there's no logic, you don't need a whole lot of thought to do it. Even babies do it. They don't put a lot of thought into it. It just happens, right? They mess their diaper.
Here, how I would see it is, since you have no choice but to do it,
okay,
it requires no logic.
Okay,
sure. Like I can't think whether to do it or not. I have to do it, so I don't have to think about it. I poop and I pee.
Because
I put food in my mouth and I chew it.
I agree with that, and that could go all the way down to the idea of you get hunger pains if you don't eat enough, right? So logically, you have to put food in your mouth to stay alive, because hunger pains are just that bad, and you know that eventually you'll succumb to starvation.
Yeah, well, even that, I don't know if you're trying to make the point that it is logical or not, but when you have a pain, I think you don't need to use much logic to try to know that you want to go around that pain. But before we digress too much, I really want to stick this home because it's I feel it's the reality.
Guys, we're all gonna be vegans by the end of this episode.
No. I don't care, but I think the main point that I would want people to potentially understand, including you, is that regardless, there's not much of a difference. The line is really that thin.
Or
You eating
a human
yes,
or an animal.
yes, exactly. You eating meat and coming from a human and coming from an animal is
You
a
could
very
tell the
is a, well,
difference.
it's a very paper thin line.
So if you put 2 plates down,
No,
and you
I
said,
don't mean that. I don't mean that.
these 2 are both unlabeled plates. Try them both. This one's a brand new stew I just tried out. Let me know what you think about the differences.
Nope, I don't mean that. I mean more
Oh,
of
that's what it sounded like, literally.
what I really mean, or I'm trying to explain is one is just more readily available than the other. If all the meat was gone from the grocery stores,
Yeah.
that's the only thing. That's the only reason why you eat the meat is because it's readily available at the grocery store.
Sure, but murder is a felony crime. Capital. And if you were to eat a human, it would be not only cannibalism, which is also a federal crime. That's why one is right and one is wrong.
Well, I wouldn't.
So I think it just boils down to what is correct and what is not correct.
Well, no. To bring morality in it really quickly, I was going to go there, but 2, murdering in self-defense, there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree.
If there's no more meat in the planet, or if there's no more meat on the world at the grocery stores, murdering to survive, I don't think would potentially be a crime. Like I said, it's probably...
Well, you don't need meat to survive. Maybe this is the point you're trying to drive home. You don't need to survive just off of meat.
No. The point I'm really trying to drive home is that anyone who eats meat, I feel the reality is they practically have no problem eating human. The line is very thin. It's very thin. It's.
Do we know we're eating human or outright know we're eating human because we can't find chicken and beef or steak on the shelf?
Only because there's chicken and beef and pig on the shelf is what stops you from wanting to eat human.
I don't know. That's crazy stuff.
I'm telling you,
I never woke up and was like, oh man, that human looks delicious.
I'm telling you.
I thought about some women like that. But
I'm telling you, and we'll move on to the next subject, but I feel very strongly, I'm telling you, if for some reason there was no more meat to be bought, it's like I said, it's probably a post-apocalyptic situation.
Sure.
If there was no more meat to be bought, you wouldn't have much trouble transitioning to eating humans. It's basically the same thing.
Is it me hunting and cooking, prepping, and eating the human, or is it going to be readily available on the shelf because there's no more beef?
I mean, you brought up hunger pain, for example, right?
Yeah.
Try to think. There's no you can't go to the store and buy food.
Right.
You're very hungry.
Sure.
You're getting more and more hungry. And I mean, you can input any way you want. Maybe there's already someone dead, already dead. Maybe you have to do some action to get it. I think you making that switch to deciding that is like a very thin line. Like, you could just easily step on that other side. Very easily.
But there are so many other things in the world to eat that aren't meat.
I'm not arguing that.
Right.
I'm just arguing to make that step is very easy.
I don't know. I couldn't hack someone's arm off and just start gnawing on it like it's zombie land.
I'm not saying you could.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
I'm
I
just
couldn't
saying,
bring myself to it.
If you were to, it's I don't even think the line's there. I don't even think you even have to really cross the line.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely tribes in South Africa that do cannibalize.
Here, I'll make
It's
it.
definitely a thing.
I'll use a
This is
metaphor.
a serious thing that does happen and occur, but I don't think that I could draw myself.
I'll make a metaphor, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
I feel that line in this situation is as transparent of a line as you eating pepperoni pizza and you eating sausage pizza. Is there really a big difference between those?
I guess not.
There's not. It's really not.
Yeah, I guess
I'm
not.
having something
either
on
way,
my
it's
pizza.
both. Well, I don't know. I prefer cheese pizza.
Yeah.
I've been eating a lot of cheese pizza.
We'll use that.
There's nothing on it.
Is there a big difference between a cheese pizza with mozzarella and one with cheddar?
Well, they're both cheeses.
You don't really care, right?
No, I guess not. No, they're both cheeses, though.
That's how I feel about this meat thing.
Okay.
And so it's like...
So either way, meat is meat, cheese is cheese, and all these subcategories of where it came from don't really exist so much.
Well, I just meant how when you have the options of between those two cheese pizzas, you're like, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you just shrug your shoulders.
Yeah, like, I don't really care. Give me one of them.
Dude, it's Tuesday at 2:15 p.m., dude. Just put one on and let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't really care. So I feel like in this certain situation where there's no more meat anywhere on the planet for you to go buy, it's like, it becomes like, I don't really care. Like, that's kind of the metaphor I would use to try to make this point.
You know what's interesting?
Yeah.
I could agree with you with this simile right here, or not even a simile. Let's just call it a hypothetical event. You can't buy meat in the superstores like you're saying, right?
Yeah.
No more. You can't find it. You've traveled freaking 50 miles. Can't find meat anywhere.
Yep.
It's all been bought up. It's in somebody's deep freezer somewhere. They're not sharing. There's one food truck saying, "I have meat." They're yelling, "I have meat." Come over here, 50 cents or whatever. You know, $50 a pound, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
They jack their prices up because no one can buy meat anywhere else. So who cares?
Okay.
$50 a pound. So you don't ask any questions. Oh, what is it? You just go over there. Oh, it's meat. Here's a ground beef option, and here's a thin lung slice or whatever, right? You can buy it by the pound. It doesn't matter how it's cut or whatever. They just tell you these are the basics. You buy it. You go home. You test it. You eat it. Whatever.
Yeah.
But you still have no idea really what's in it. People aren't really going to ask that many questions whenever they say, "I can't find meat anywhere else. This food truck had meat. I bought it and I took it home and I fed it to my family." Where does meat come from? I don't know.
Yeah.
It could have been human.
Okay.
Because, like you said, that line is so transparent. Maybe you're right. Maybe flavors are so similar. I don't know. Maybe there is a proper cut off of a human that tastes more like, you know.
Yeah.
I could agree. I could definitely agree.
I mean,
I
yes.
hope that people won't be so naive to just say, like, "Oh, man, my hunger pain's in the way, and I don't care where this meat just came from or who just sold it to me. I found it in the alleyway or fell off of this dude's truck." I would hope that they would have more questions than that. But, yeah, I mean, I guess if you're just fixed on eating meat and that's only really what you consume, then, yeah, there wouldn't be too many questions to ask. Who cares? It's meat. It's going in my body.
Like, because, for example, you seem like someone who, like, it seems like you're struggling to potentially say or admit, I would say, that you would eat human. So with that, I would ask, like, how is the meat you eat now,
Yeah.
how is that different from eating human?
Well, I can tell you this. The meat that I eat now, I understand what it is and where it comes from. I understand, you know, you could go into the whole rigmarole of the cruelty in all these places that take care of these cows and animals or whatever, right? But there's the same reason why I don't eat dog and cat or whatever, right?
Are you sure?
I still will eat domestic chicken.
Are you sure the reason why you don't eat dog and cat is because there's whatever you just named, chicken and are you sure that's the reason why you don't eat dog and cat?
I don't think that's the reason. I think the reason is only because of society norms. If I did grow up in a South African tribe and they were cannibalizing people all the time, then yeah, I mean, I guess I would just be human too. It's social normality.
Yeah, I mean,
it's socially normal. The reason I don't eat dog and cat is because here in America, that's not a social norm. But in Korea, Ukraine, or wherever else, they do.
I agree with you, but I'm still disagreeing because we're products of our environment.
Mm-hmm,
we're products of our environment.
That's what I'm saying.
And
that's really all it boils down to.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just feel like in the environment, dude, in the environment where there's no more this meat that you declare to be suitable for you to eat, I just feel like the line gets so thin, dude. It becomes so thin. And we will leave it at that. So here's my next thing. It was what we talked about earlier. It's about whatever, sigma, what do you even call that? Well, how about this? Let me think something. Is first define sigma, and then from there, before I forget, can you be a sigma woman or sigma female? But define sigma. What does that even mean?
Well, I want to jump to your second question first. Sigma female or sigma whatever. Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, I would like to think that there are definitions of alpha females just as much as whatever else.
Alpha females?
Yeah, I mean, right? There has to be. There has to be somewhere. I don't think that. What are these even called? These are. I don't think that personality types are only suitable for male because they all end with alpha male, beta male, sigma male, whatever.
Alpha females.
There must be. I mean, is there any one of them that say female at the end?
You really stumped me.
That's what I'm saying. Well, that's why you asked me alpha or sigma female. Well, I'm like, well, there must be because.
Huh. It's interesting.
Just because we don't really categorize it like that. I mean, what is it besides just feminine energy that they carry? There has to be some sort of hierarchy here that they also follow. I mean, in Egypt, they had kings and rulers that were also females, which is what the giant sphinx is after a female leader.
Interesting.
But, shoot, go back to what your first question was. It was the definition of sigma male?
Yeah.
I don't personally know. I'm still studying it myself. My therapist, I still don't remember her name, but let's think. Nope, can't come up with it. Whatever. It was a very long time ago. But while she was studying my personality type, she told me that I was, under her impression, a sigma male. Why? Because I don't follow things the same way that just beta males do, in the sense of, well, what exactly the beta males do is they will go into a room, they're awkward and kind of clumsy, maybe they'll just follow whichever way so-and-so points them to do. The highest pitched tonality in the room not the highest, but the deepest, whoever speaks with the most authority, that's the person the beta male is going to attract to, right?
Okay.
Where the alpha male is usually the thunder in the room, which is, the deepest voice, whatever, the one cracking action. So sigma male lie in between both of them. They have a lot of their own personal values and things like that they know they follow. But most of the time, I guess it's really just about being yourself and being unique and genuine and not really worrying so much about everything else.
Okay.
I will take leadership roles where someone else might drop them at.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I don't want to deal with the situation. Okay, fine. Then I will. Because we all know, if there's three of us here, an alpha, a sigma, and a beta, then you say, I'm not dealing with this situation right now. I got other things to do. I'm out. He's not going to do anything. So the sigma male steps in and says, look, I know how to rationalize and categorize all of the things that we have to take care of, and this is how we're going to do it, right? So I just look at it that way. I don't really have much of a definition. Like I said, there's still a lot of it I'm trying to understand too myself.
We're going to get back to this, but I have something good.
Sure.
This is something I've heard from Jordan Peterson. That's our guy. That's my guy. I love Jordan Peterson.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure he has the most value ever put on the internet ever. Oh. So, I heard a quote from him. He said that you can find a surrogate father or father figure or authority, right? It could be your drill sergeant while you're in the army.
Right.
It could be your football coach.
In a few episodes ago, I said it could be your grandparent or whatever, a boss at work or whatever, right? Remember this part? So go back a few episodes and watch that back. But I know exactly what he's boiling into, so carry on.
No, you don't.
Well, no, I don't.
Heck no.
I'm following up with what you're saying, what I agree with.
So everyone kind of agrees with that. But then he said, but you cannot find a second mother.
Okay, true. I would say true.
I find this very profound. I found that very striking.
Interesting.
Because why? Why?
Well, who else is going to give you that maternal figure of comfort? We definitely can't find that in. Okay, we're both men, so we're both straight men at that. So we're going to be going after females that pique our interest, right? You're not going to be chasing after a female looking for a maternal figure.
Well, of course I agree with you, but
Right.
I wanna take a step back.
Okay, sure.
Like,
But I just think that's probably part of it.
well,
At least part of it.
I disagree because for the woman, you automatically brought it to a female partner.
Yeah.
For the man, you didn't, and no one would bring that to a male partner. One, I don't think you didn't.
Men aren't known to be maternal.
Well, no, I meant,
Dude, I would be the worst mother in the world.
no, of course, I meant when we talked about the father figure.
Mhm.
You didn't bring up, oh well, I have some sort of partner, friend. You didn't think of a friend, right? When you thought of a father figure,
No.
of course not.
No.
So, but for a female, you in a sense did think of a friend, a girlfriend, a relationship.
Sure.
So I don't think that was like, I don't think we should approach it like that
Okay, sure.
because
So you would like somebody like a principal. I don't know too many females in in a sense to where you would put maternal value on them.
well, I'm struggling with my words tonight for some reason, but so one reason why I found this so crazy is because finding a father figure in that quote that we agreed with seems easy. It seems simple. It seems very possible.
Yeah.
You may not even need to even look for it. It may get sprung upon you.
Right.
One, I don't know if that diminishes the value of a father or not. But when you go thinking about the mom, it seems impossible. And let's take out the girlfriend scenario because that's so.
Yeah, that one doesn't really count.
Well, it's just so small.
Yeah, it doesn't.
In the world,
It's not right.
out of 7 billion people,
Yeah.
whether they're your girlfriend or not,
Right.
or no matter who they are, you cannot find a second mother. And I just find that I found that, I don't know, it like blows my mind that that's true.
Well,
How can we find a second father,
so easily.
potentially even better than our real father,
Right.
but we could never find a mother?
Well, does that take
I don't know, I just think
does
it's
that
crazy.
take our grandmother out of the equation too? You know what I'm saying? Because I think
Yes, yes.
your grandmother would also probably have the same maternal approach that your mother would, right? I mean, your grandmother wants to see you safe and doing the right things as a man as you get older, or woman even. I mean,
I just feel like you're making a great point.
yeah,
And that part, you're right. Yes. I mean, yeah, you could find. I don't even really know exactly what maternal means. We all kind of have an idea, but
right. We all kind of have an idea, and I'm struggling with it too, even. And I'm somebody that's grown up with the same mother and everything my whole life. Still talk to her on a daily basis, but yeah, I've never, I've had jobs, and I was like, yeah, this guy, I wouldn't mind spending a whole day with him because he's going to instill certain values that I know I need to strengthen, right?
Yeah.
But never have I been employed, and then a woman was in a leader role, and I was like, I look at her as a mother,
well,
or she wants the same kind of positive outcome that my mother would want on me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I brought the grandmother, because that's only a place I can relate that to. Other women that are maybe our grandmother's age or our mother's age, sure, but they still don't care about you the same way that your grandmother or mother would.
yeah. I mean, I have an idea why the quote makes sense, but
I'm stumped.
well, to work with you, you're right, in a sense, like I can find, for example, a grandmother who is maternal towards me, but no matter how much she cares, no matter how maternal she is, she will never be my mother.
Right. Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about a father.
I
just a
disagree.
drill sergeant or whatever.
I disagree
He'll never be your
1,000%.
dad.
I disagree 1,000%.
Why is that?
I guess, I mean, to try to talk about it logically,
Yeah.
it might be kind of hard for me, but
Sure.
because it's just a feeling I have. But I can imagine that there are many people who have a father figure in their life who's not their father, who has had a profound impact on them more than their original or biological father.
I can agree.
But no matter how profound and loving a mother figure may be for someone, deep down in their heart, no matter what, they will always say, well, that's not my mom.
They will always say that's not my mom?
Yes, like deep down subconsciously, they would say, you know, this person cares about me, they took care of me, they nurtured me, they did everything maternal.
Sure.
But deep down, they're not my mom. But I feel like for a father, I'm not saying they won't say that too, but I feel like it's a lot more likely or easier for them to say, you know what? You know, whatever, that is my dad, or I look at him like he's my dad.
Yeah, I've done that myself.
I think both are possible, but I feel like the father is just like way more likely.
Yeah,
it's just so much more likely.
As the times that I have said in my past, I look at this guy like my dad. I've never said, I look at this woman like my mom.
I think the reason why, Jordan Peterson didn't explain, of course, right? He starts talking about fancy crap, but I just think the reason why, I don't know, it just has to do with age. Like, he did explain a little bit. He was like, you know, at first, it's like, you know, it's like more of the mom's job when the kid's like really, really dependent, like between the ages of like 0 and 1.
I agree.
It's like really important, the mom's role then. And then as the child gets older, he was saying, you know, he thinks it's more of the man's job to like whatever encourage and to like push them out and encourage them and stuff.
Instill a lot of principles and morals and things like that. You know, like.
So I think when you're super young, if that mom wasn't there, like really young when you needed her, it just for every reason because of age, it just has just so much more. Like you can never go back in time. But I don't know, for some reason, I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting.
It's super interesting.
It's super interesting.
I'm still tied up on it because, like, think about like the sense of where people have stepmoms and stuff like that. At any point, do they say that's not my mom, but that's my mom? You know what I'm saying?
What do you mean? Wait, say that again.
Like saying that their biological mother is not their mom, but their stepmother is their mom. You think there's ever a scenario like that out of stepmothers and things like that?
You know? Well, I think that does happen, but again, like, and it must have to do with just that being so young when you really needed your mom.
Yeah.
Deep down, you'd be like, yeah, that's my mom, my stepmom, that's my mom. But like, when I was whatever, a tiny little baby, like in this scenario, apparently your mom wasn't there.
Right. Sure.
So you'd be like, yeah, well, that's my mom now, but you know, she's not my real mom. Like when I really needed her, she wasn't there.
Sure.
I don't know. I just found it so interesting.
But of course, I brought it to the extreme side of things. I'm just trying because I agree with you, and I agree with Jordan, of course, to the degree of.
So interesting.
To the degree of, like I said before, is I've never looked at, you know, a role model as a female and said, I look at her as a mom, or she cares for me as I'm her stepson.
I feel like technically it's impossible.
Right.
Because
I'm leaning towards that.
The only person who could be your mom was that person who was there when you were a little baby, when you really needed them. But it's just crazy for a dad. It's apparently it's different. It's different because again, you can easily go out into this world and find someone who can be that father figure for you.
Yeah, and you know what's even crazier?
It's just like, crazy. It blows my mind.
Unless if you are top G, your kids at some point will probably disown you to a degree, and I think that's a large portion of society these days on the middle to lower class scale of society. You know what I'm saying?
Jordan Peterson, and this is controversial, and of course he is too.
Yeah.
And don't get too extreme on this for us, but he kind of says at some point you kind of supposed to, or you need to, or you have to, in a sense, disregard your parents. At some point you need to say, hey, you know what? These are just people.
I agree with you. There was a certain age in my life too where I just thought the same thing.
That's pretty crazy.
And then the conversations I started having with them were more of, these are just people. But then, you know, I started coming at them a little bit. I was like, yo, how come, like, you're this age and don't own this thing or don't have those things, you know?
Yeah.
So kind of coming at them a little bit, and then they were kind of getting all in the feelings and stuff like that because emotions kind of rule most of the world.
Yeah.
Unless if you could be stoic and step back from emotions and just say, it is what it is kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I remember the age that I was when I stopped looking at them as parents And it was around the age that I had my second child and was getting ready at the age of 19 to buy my first home. Because I knew what their age was, how many homes they did own, and whatever, right? So, I was just comparing them to myself as, they are just humans, so let me have just human conversations with them.
It sounds like you did what you're supposed to do, but
Yeah,
I want to, eventually we'll talk about this,
sure.
but there's this thing they talk about, like, whatever, it's like the Oedipal complex. It's super, I guess, weird almost. It's, Sigmund Freud talked about it, and it's really weird. But it has to do with like from what I understand, right? And this is gonna get weird, but it has to do with like some sort of like sexuality involved between a child and a parent. It's super weird, dude. And one thing that they talk about, and I've touched on it a little bit, is it's so weird. But so like a son will like want his mom to be his wife.
Wow.
I know. And how some of this comes about, and vice versa. The daughter wants to be with the husband.
Sure.
And
this is super common, you're saying?
Well, it's supposed to be a natural, normal stage as a child matures. It's supposed to be a natural thing that should happen naturally, and then goes on to the next step.
Sure. I'll let you finish. I'm sure you have more to say.
A little bit more, yeah. So, kind of how this springs about is like it was the son, because we're men. So the son is whatever, getting older, and he has his dad. He's looking at his dad. He wants to have what his dad has, right? The dad's just hopefully happy, hopefully doing good, hopefully his superhero, and he sees that the dad has the mom. So now he's thinking like, all right, well, I want what my dad has.
Sure.
Which in a sense is her. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
And there's a lot more to it, and it's a lot of deep stuff, and Sigmund Freud's freaking weird, crazy. He starts talking about, just to touch on it, he starts talking about how like using the bathroom is technically like a sexual experience for children. It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, peeing and pooping is in a sense sexual. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
And he's worked with some conscious and a bunch of stuff, but yeah, that would be common. Once we have more viewers, I have a bunch of stuff I'd love to get into, but
drop a comment below.
yeah, if you want to hear that crap.
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us for more.
Yeah.
So I'll say that makes sense because as we do get older, of course, I'm not saying that it makes sense. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
because as you get older, right, you search out to find a woman, or if you're a woman already, you search out to find a male that is going to provide the same kind of comfort and whatever else in your opposite sex partner for those exact building blocks of what you're believing life to be as normal.
Yeah.
My mom comes home, wash the dishes, does all these things, make sure laundry's good or whatever, cooks dinner, everyone's happy, sit down, have a civil conversation at the dinner table sometimes potty talk or whatever, I know everyone's family's a little weird, but you desire, as you get older, to find a woman that will also accommodate those same attributes, if you will. So, I mean, as crazy as it might sound, it's, I would say, relatively true.
Glad to hear you agree with that, man. That, yeah. I'm glad to hear that.
I would definitely agree with that. Because, I'll say this too, I remember when we were very young, my mom, what was she doing at that time? At that time, she was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad would go to work and whatever, and my older sister at the time, loved him so much, and she would tell my mom things like that, one day I'm going to marry him, and things like that, too, remind her how lucky of a woman she is to have him, and things like that, all kind of gay stuff. But I've never personally had that experience, oh man, I could marry my mom. I'd never thought that ever. Super weird.
It's
I wonder if I'm broken because I never thought that.
Well, I mean, I've touched on it a little bit. I've read some of Freud's stuff. Obviously, I'm not an expert, but one, I would probably disagree with Tyler and how he feels, just cause. But second,
That's what we do out here.
second, and just we'll move on to the next thing. But apparently, there is like some mythological story where apparently like this really happened, and the son killed his father and married his mother,
Holy smoke.
and his name like
Sounds like King Arthur.
his name was like it had like Oedipal in it, and so like that's
Oh,
why they
that's
call
where-
it that now. Yeah, so
okay.
that's where it comes from. It was like some sort of mythology, but interesting, nonetheless. All right, one of the last topics I have happened today. Everybody knows this. So I'm driving a car. It's in a rush. They cut out in front of me. I see him at the stoplight. I'm like, dude, you're rushing. I'm right next to you at the stoplight, and I'm driving. I like to drive really slow.
Yeah.
And here you are, right next to me. Then they rush some more, and then they turn to the gas station. I'm like, what? Like you're rushing just to go to the gas station? I don't
had to
know.
go to the
Man.
bathroom.
I
Go rushing to the restroom.
Probably not though.
Gotta
But
go, good.
one thing I was thinking about
We did
this.
that Dunkin' Run, went and wait.
I don't
We
know,
sell the
dude.
last enchilada.
I don't know, either that or they had too much morning coffee, dude. I have no idea, but it's just one thing I was thinking about it.
F1 driver on the freaking E-way.
Dude, it's one thing I was thinking about it, and we all know this, but I'm like, you know, it must be kind of natural to just grab onto an opportunity when it presents itself. Just like, oh, I have the opportunity to like cut in front of people and drive fast. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it, even though I'm going nowhere. We're gonna be at the red light at the same time, and obviously, we know that, right? We've all,
Yeah.
for example, probably done it. We've all cut someone off or drove really fast to notice that whoever you just cut off is right next to you, and that
Yeah.
I don't know if you think then like, oh man, there was no point for me to like. I just like we all know that's gonna happen, or we all know that we're rushing just to do nothing.
Yeah.
Yet we still do it. So I'm like, well, it just must be just like human nature. Just take the opportunity. Just to take opportunity. Just to take it.
Sure.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. I can definitely agree. If an opportunity presents itself, why would you not take it, you know? And, you know, I can relate this. Let's see. How do I want to go about this? I can relate this specifically to buying cigars. I buy a lot of cigars. And sometimes, it's very rare these days, but whenever I walk into my local cigar shop, they have a cigar I've been looking for, whatever. So, boom, I buy it. You know, it doesn't matter if it's $25, $30. Shoot, I'll transfer some bread real quick because the opportunity is there.
Yeah.
Like, you're not guaranteed the opportunity again. But as far as driving fast goes and stuff like that, I don't know, man. Just be safe out here, dude. I've been driving to work so many times. I see an accident happen probably just 5 minutes before I got there. Dude, something horrendous happens. The car's freaking tires bent off and all kinds of crazy stuff, dude. Like, oh my goodness, dude. I just hope and pray everybody's okay and safe. And they both get full coverage, liability, and everything like that back for the vehicle that they just totaled.
Yeah.
Because now look, you were rushing, maybe not paying attention all the way, ruined your day, ruined someone else's day. Dude, it's just not worth it. It's really not worth it. The win-to-lose ratio is so large to just driving fast and being reckless that it's really not worth it, dude. I don't care if you're 16 right now just getting your license. I don't care if you're 25. I don't care if you're 35 and you think, I've been driving for 25 years or whatever, dude, and I haven't never had a crash. Dude, just slow down. It's really not worth it, dude. You're going to ruin two people's day. That's that person's probably only form of transportation. They can't afford anything else. Just be conscientious of others. That's all I can really say about that. That kind of stuff really bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a couple things about accidents, and like one thing I've heard, we've all probably heard it, you've heard it too. Very typically, I feel like a lot of times a car accident happens is when like there's like, well, there's a lot of ways, but one way is when two people are being like indecisive.
Okay,
Like,
sure.
do you go? Do I go? Do you go? Do I go? Oh, we both go. You know
I
what I
definitely
mean?
agree. Operational error at that point. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Slow money don't make money. That's all we always say.
I always drive slow, man, and I always respect someone when I see someone driving really slow. But here's another thing that
Because that's gangsta, kid. Dude,
it is cool.
just listening to an audiobook or your favorite tracks or something, taking your time. What you do, in order to drive slow, you give yourself a lot of time management. I have 25 minutes to get here. I'm going to give myself 45 minutes to get there. so I can drive slow, be more conscientious. Maybe I'll, see something I would have missed before. Whatever. There's so many benefits to being planned and methodical instead of hurry, hurry, hurry. I'm in a rush. No one else is as in much of a hurry as I am, because that is most of the time not true.
There's one thing, I feel like I'm just like everyone else in a sense. Sometimes though, I have this thought where I'm driving, like I try to get psychological about it. And I feel like a lot of driving sometimes I've noticed really seems to be a lot of like virtue signaling. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to show how moral and good people they are by the way that they drive.
That's interesting.
Yeah, like you're in the middle of absolute nowhere.
Sure.
Absolute nowhere.
Still doing 45.
Yep, exactly. Or there's a stop sign, you sit there and pause extra long, and you're just people are trying to show look how good of a person I am. I am, following the law to an absolute T. So yeah, I feel like there's just a lot of I notice that a lot, dude. Because I'm always driving on back roads, and I feel like people are just trying to show exercise power, show how good of a person they are by the way they drive. Notice that a lot.
You think that's exercising power by just being a good square?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's 100%. One is exercising power because that's the only reason why they would do it.
Self-control.
Well, that's the only reason why they would do it. They wouldn't do it to hurt themselves. They do it.
No, I agree with that, but it would only be the exercising of power of self-control. Right? No? It would be intelligence?
Well,
I'm more smart because I sit at the stop sign in the middle of nowhere for 3 seconds?
Well, one, it's not intelligent to do that. Two,
I didn't think so either.
It's not. Two, it's not self-control either because I don't know here, but I imagine those people who do that and who are willing to do that have no desire to do the opposite. It's not. It doesn't really pop up in their head as an option. It's something that they've always done, that they'll always do.
Sure.
So I don't have
to. So it's more of second nature.
Well, no. Well, yes, but I think exactly like how I was doing with the shoulder thing. I think it's literally like anyone who's watching right now. Haha! Look at me. I am a good person, and I'm showing it right now by stopping at the stop sign extra long, by stopping at the yellow light when I could go. It's me using the power to show you or anyone who could be watching or is watching that I am a good person.
Okay.
And that's how I'm exercising power, because I am doing this action.
Sure. And
yeah, dude, I think I see it a lot, and I think it a lot. I actually kind of took the opposite approach.
Okay, what'd you think?
Because I believe in like the will to power, exercising power is the reason for life.
Right.
So I personally, don't take my advice here, but I do the opposite. I exercise power by not doing that stuff. Like if it's not
really nowhere, stop sign where.
If it's not necessary, through my rational thought and cope or whatever. Yeah, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to show power here by not doing that because I think it's smart, and I exercise power that way.
Well, I do agree. Either way, it's the option of free will. Either way.
No free will.
No free will? If you blow the stop sign, you have free will to blow the stop sign. You could follow every rule and guideline. That's your free will, but that's a matrix, it's a trap. Or you can break every rule, get away with it for as long as you can.
The first reason why free will. The surface level, why that's not free will,
okay, sure,
is because of the point of making the decision. When in my brain does that decision come?
When the opportunity arises.
So the opportunity arises, and I blow the stop sign, for example.
Sure.
That's not me. In a sense, it seems it's not me doing free will. That's me following an impulse.
Okay. I could agree with that.
Yeah, I'm following an impulse.
Because the opportunity arose.
Exactly.
And the impulse.
Because we're whatever, products of our environment.
Yeah.
So the environment gives me the opportunity. I have the impulse to do it, and I am almost blindly, without choice. Well, without choice.
Oh, without choice at all?
Yeah, I mean, without choice.
Well, I think everything's a choice.
It's an illusion. Because of how I feel the brain works. Like, It's like I kind of almost want to relate it to food. Like, do you have free will to eat or not?
Yep. That's why people fast. It's a religious thing, but that's why they do it.
Do you have free will to eat or not in your entire life?
No. You'll starve to death and you will die.
So that's how I feel about stuff like about this. Eating food is an impulse, it seems. It's an impulse. Like, yeah, you can fast, but either way, the impulse is going to come, and you're going to do it. Do you have the choice?
That's like eating a pound of gummy bears or not eating a pound of gummy bears. Your impulse says, let's eat this pound of gummy bears.
Or not.
Well,
not my free choice. The impulse decides that.
Yeah.
So it's not free will. It's not. Either I have an impulse to do it or an impulse to don't, and I more or less must follow that impulse. And my brain says, oh yeah, you use rational thought to figure this out, and we gave you the choice even. But I feel like really in reality it's my body reacting to this impulse that's in the environment. My brain likes to use all this logic and ration to say, oh yeah, don't worry. You got cortexes, man. You got hemispheres. You can choose either option, and you just chose this one. I don't think that's the truth, man. It's. I had an impulse to eat gummy bears or not. Whatever impulse won is the one I chose, and now my brain rationalizes the choice.
Yep, later on, right. I can agree.
Bam!
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Glad to hear.
Yeah, everything's just impulsive.
That's
just impulsive humans.
That's how it seems, man. And it's our brain's job to rationalize it and logicalize it or whatever. Yeah. It's our brain's. That's why it's there.
That's why I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, no, I'm already wrong, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't care. We're all professional salesmen. Everybody is. Because if you can rationalize your impulses and come up with a good enough reason why the impulse was the right one, even if society says it was wrong or whatever, your brain still says it was the right one. I still chose the right thing because I felt that and desired that. So, boom, you sold it. You sold it to yourself.
I love that.
So you did it. So, yeah.
That's exactly what... Yep.
Professional salesman.
You put it perfectly. The brain is selling you... The brain's selling you free choice.
Okay, bet. I can agree with that, too.
I love to hear that, man. Thanks, everybody, for showing out.
Like, comment, and subscribe. Drop your thoughts below. Tell us what your impulses for today were, if you can recognize them.
And call it free will after, baby. Let's go.
Call it free will, because, yeah...